It's the Cardiff City phone-in. Here we go once again. A rare defeat on the weekend, somewhat dismal 2-0 defeat against Lincoln City, and a really big match. Great crowd down there, but it wasn't a great one to lose. But in all honesty, I thought they had a game plan. They stuck to it, and they did it really well. Donna, how gutted on a scale of 1 to 10 are you? And does it matter in the grand scheme of things as long as you go up automatically?
I'm 10 on a scale of gutted. Because to me, I want to get up, but I want to go up as champions as well. And I think that was like they were our closest rivals. It was a bit like the Swansea derby all over again, isn't it? When you get the big crowd in, a game that really matters. It matters to me because I wanted us to finish first. And basically, we didn't really get in that game at all, did we? I mean, we had all the possession, but you could just see that it wasn't going anywhere. There was no target man in the centre for us. With Kellyman on the wing, it just wasn't working. So I definitely a 10 there because I want us to be first. I do believe we've got the team to be first. It's not all over, I know that, but Lincoln just look so strong, don't they? They're so organised. They don't play around with their team. He has a consistent team, and we could have been there all day and we wouldn't have scored against them. So I was really disappointed with what I saw on the weekend, because I do believe that it wasn't a proper game. You know, we had all this possession and it just wasn't going anywhere, and now we're second. So, and we can overtake them. There's still games left, but if you look at our running, I don't know if they're gonna lose again. So I was very, very disappointed.
So they were obviously the first team to do the double over us, the only team to do the double over us. So hats off to them. Obviously, they went away very, very happy from the game. But like 78% possession, I think we had. It was almost like in days gone by, Donna, when we'd maybe take the mick out of Swansea for having all the possession and not doing much with it.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was just too much. There was still moments of nice football, but like I said, there was nobody to cross to, and Kellyman was wasted on the wing, having Tanner on the wrong side. I mean, people blaming him for his passes, but it wasn't his natural side. And again, Ruben was all over the place because he didn't really know where he wanted to be. So the shape and formation, I think, let us down in that game. And it was such a big game, because not only did we lose, we're not top anymore. And to me, that is important. I mean, we have to get up. I know we have to get up. That's more important than anything, but it would be nice to go up as champions. And I do worry about Bolton, because I've gone very negative at the minute. I'll be fine again tomorrow when we win. I'll be like, yay! But at the moment, I've gone very, very negative, because I'm looking at Bolton. They're unbeaten in 11 games, and we still got to play them. And I'm thinking, they could perhaps do the double over us, and the two teams that have done the double over us could finish above us. But that's me being negative. And like I said, by tomorrow, when we win 4-0, I'll be back to the good old positive. But
I wish you hadn't said that. I hadn't even thought about it.
I was going to say that's a negative. Sorry.
I know it's very, very negative, but I'm sure it won't happen. And by tomorrow, we'll be fine. But I just look at how Bolton are playing, and they've got experience of where they are. But we've still got games, and as long as we win tomorrow, we get back on track, and we have got Salak to come back soon as well. So
yeah. What about you, Simon? Are you your glass half full kind of guy?
Yeah, I'm the opposite of Donna, really, because obviously I suppose I'm not the only person that sees Donna posting on Facebook, which I have done for a few seasons, and you know, you can tell that Donna does take the highs high and the lows low, which is fine. But I try and be like a bit like BBM and sort of say, don't get too carried away with the wins and don't get too down with the losses. And yeah, I was very disappointed. But at the end of the day, you know, as Dave Jones used to say, it's only 3 points. And as you said at the start, Steve, really, they did a job on us. And what they did do, they did very well. But really, they're the total opposite of us in terms of, I think I saw a stat that said they've got the lowest possession stats of any team in the division, and yet they're top of the league.
Yeah,
and the other things is, one of the many things I didn't like about the way they played is they started time wasting from the first minute. their keeper was taking so long, and it annoys me because it's happened to us before. It's like the ref waits until the 93rd minute to book him for
It was
time
crazy how
wasting
long he
when
left
he's
it.
been
It was
doing it
crazy.
all the way through the game. And it's not just them. If you look at their average stats, when Lincoln play, the ball's only in play for something like 55 minutes. For the remaining 35 minutes, they're either time wasting or it's out to play on set plays. And almost every single goal kick, free kick, throw in they play, it takes at least 30 seconds. So for me, I acknowledge they did a job on us and what they did, but they're a terrible footballing team if they play like that all the time. Imagine coming up against a team playing that. It reminds me of a game when I fell asleep once when Russell Slade was our manager. The only time I've fallen asleep, and we were playing Chris Hughton's Brighton on a Tuesday evening game, and it was like nothing's happening. It was like both teams seemed to settle for 0-0, and it was just like, and I thought, I've come all the way and nothing's going on. And it was a nice sunny evening, and I just thought, ugh. And imagine Lincoln playing a Lincoln like that. There'd be nothing happening. So yes, they did a job on us, and what they did very well. But I can't say what a fantastic performance, because they was just so negative. It reminded me, I went to see Blackpool one of the few away games I've been able to make, and we were all over them first half, and we should have scored, and their keeper made some fantastic saves, and it started off the same in the second half, and then Blackpool hit us on the break, fantastic finish, and then they did the same thing 3 times. It was all us, had all the possession, but they hit us 3 times on the break, and I was thinking of that when Lincoln did us twice as well. So, yes, it's very disappointing, but it is hard to play against a team who don't want to play football. They want to do is spoil it for the opposition, and that's their focus. And the possession stats prove that. All they want to do is be a spoiler team based on that performance on Saturday.
However, and it's great, Steve, you're on tonight, because I know you and Simon often have interesting, different philosophical views on football, so that could be good. But I don't really see the comment on the screen there, Steve. To be honest, I mean, it's not been clever after the event. I was a bit surprised when I saw the starting lineup. I was particularly surprised about the front 3, and for what it's worth, that would have been my opening 3, saying that he would have had Keane in from the start on the left and Tanner cutting in from the right with Kellyman up front. It was kind of a bit toothless, Steve, up front. Did you think?
It was a strange one because Kellyman's been doing really well centrally. I think he's a different player centrally to what he gives us on the wing. I mean, even he missed a couple of chances at Plymouth, but he still scored 2 really, really clever goals, didn't he? And I think he just offers a little bit more craft as a false 9 or a centre forward or whatever you want to call it. I was quite surprised he started wide. Personally, I would have started Willock on Saturday because I think he offers a little bit more than all the others on the left-hand side. He's got a bit more about him, and he's got a lot more experience as well. And I think that's what we were lacking. But the biggest miss for me on Saturday was Perry NG.
Yeah.
Primarily because I think he's been one of our best players this year, and his link-up play with Tanner, especially at home on the right-hand side, has been really good. And he's the type of guy as well that's not afraid to have a pop on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest downfall. We don't shoot enough, Steve. This sideways passing. Well, the crowd give it away every home game, don't they? I mean, the number of times you hear the shoot that go up, the number of times we're saying that, and everyone around us was saying the same thing on Saturday. I think, I was always taught when you see the whites of the goals, have a go, fizz the ball across the box. We didn't test their keeper until 30 minutes on Saturday as the home side, and that's
look
criminal.
that good to me, either, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he made a brilliant save then, but we didn't work.
He made that one great save.
Yeah, it was a world-class save. But as Simon said, they were. I wouldn't like to watch that side every week. They're very efficient, but that side we played Saturday, I've never seen such a disciplined team to keep their shape. I mean, even when they pushed forward and they pushed forward with a front two as well, they were back in shape straight away. But not only that, Steve, they hunted us. They hunted in packs. So when they were pressing in threes and fours, back in shape. And sometimes 5 at the back is a very hard side to break down. And because it was such a low block as well, we're trying to thread the ball through a needle there. One little mistake, as in their second goal that Tanner made, and they're away. You know,
but Steve, I want to say something. I want to say something here because I'm just going to agree with Wiggy. So I just want you to be aware that I am agreeing with Wiggy about their shape coming back. I was watching the game, and as you say, Wiggy, when they were attacking and they had to defend, I watched their back 5, and they ran back in a perfect line, and I thought, I've never seen that before. That is a well-trained, well-drilled team. To run back as a back 5 and keep completely in your line, I thought they know what they're doing here. But and it is difficult, to get through because often they were playing 5-4-1, occasionally 4-4-2.
Yeah, they were.
But if I had to look at that shot from Ruben that the keeper sort of shoveled a bit. And if you look at that, their actually defensive shape is 7-3. They've got 7 at the back inside the penalty area and the other 3 just on the edge of the penalty area. So, we talk about shooting, but it's incredibly difficult if you're up against a team. And that was when the score was 0-0. They weren't even in the lead then. That's what they were, that's what they were doing. 7-3.
Incredibly difficult side to break down. And I fear now that, well, not I fear, because it's good that we're still where we are, and we need to remember that, I think. And I know it's very difficult, Dom, but I think if someone would offer us second place almost halfway through March at the start of the season, we probably would have ripped their arm off for it. So
I think it's different though, isn't it? Yeah, because we've been top for so long. See, if we hadn't been top for so long, it's fine. Like it was second, but I think because you're top for so long, we've been there most of the season, and then to go into second, it is like it's just not nice, is it? But like you said, hopefully tomorrow we can get back to where we belong.
I mean, again, I think it's good that after the game, BBM wasn't too down. He was disappointed, but it's a bit like that's where it's been. It's like on with the next one, and that's always been his philosophy. And it's like, okay, that game's done and dusted. As some of the comments have said, they did a good job on us, and now we move on. And we learn and we move on, and then we got to take on Barnsley team who aren't going to be easy, because I was just looking at the form guide, and their form over the last 5 games is the same as us. Won 3 and lost 2. So, that's not going to be an easy game either.
Well, let me bring Donna back in. So Donna, I remember there was a chap called Neil Warnock. He was Cardiff City manager at some point.
Yeah, we all remember him.
And he said, I remember him saying, I just take the mic, but I remember him saying, if you're winning games, no one cares. You're winning games. So going back to Lincoln, right? I'm not suggesting we play like Lincoln, but I'd say, I take my hat off them, Donna, because so overtly had that particular game plan, and like we've alluded to tonight, they absolutely religiously stuck to it, and they did the job, and they've conceded less goals than anyone else in the division. The top of the table, they're having an incredible run. Mm-hmm. So entertainment versus results. Where are you, Donna?
I've always been results. Always have. I love the Neil Warnock days. Yeah, I love the days when we were top of the championship and we were scoring goals and they hoofed it up. So to me, you can play pretty football, but I would rather have results. But that's just the way I am. But, definitely. Like the Lincoln, I bet they're not complaining about the football they're seeing, are they? They're
not
having
all,
a fantastic season, so they don't care if they're just all shaped back and in control, and then try and catch somebody on the break and get this goals. So no, for me, it's about results.
Okay,
say now we did end up in the playoffs, which we're not going to, but say we did, and everyone could say, well, at least we had 77% possession for all these games, and we had it. We thought, do you know what I mean? That's not what you want, is it? So, no, but so for me, it's results, not pretty football.
A follow-up question on that, and maybe I don't know when. Hello, Steve. By the way, thanks for joining us.
Are you all right?
So Donna, we talked about Lincoln doing a job on us. They'd seen us, they'd seen the way we play. Basically, it said, "Well, have as much possession as you like, that's fine. We're going to hit you on the break and we'll on our free kick routines and everything else." So, looking at teams like Barnsley and those other kind of sides, if Lincoln can do it, is that how to beat us? Is that what they do? And if that is, what do we do about it?
It's going to be somehow. You've got to get you'd have to play Robinson up front, because again, they were stopping us, and we had nobody to cross to. So Salak obviously isn't better at the moment, so it may be worthwhile putting a target man in there to try and pass the pretty football to in the centre, because like I said, we were passing had all this possession, but there was nobody there in the middle to cross to anyway, because except their defenders. So, I'd maybe put Robinson in there, and when Salak's back, play the two up front, the two big guys.
So Steve Jones just come on the chat on the show. I don't know whether your wife's in the background observing. I think you said she might be, but Steve, what obviously disappointing for you, because just for people who don't know, you travelled down from Plymouth for the games, and getting anywhere from Plymouth for any game, even if you support Plymouth, is always a long way. So. It was very disappointing, but it was so blatant, really, wasn't it? The way how Lincoln approached the game, and like been talked about, so hard to break down, weren't they?
Oh, very difficult. I thought they played really well, to be honest. And, I was a bit shocked. I thought we'd handled it quite well, but we just didn't. We just passed to the death, basically, from one side of the field to the other, and back again, and that was as far as we got. We had a couple of chances first half, and I thought that shot was going in from where I sat. It was all the way in. I thought, oh my God, and he got his fingers to it, But that could have been a game changer anyway, couldn't it? If that had gone in, because we just struggled to score.
Yeah, it would have made a big difference, I think.
Yeah. And just the way it goes, I guess. I left this. We left this house at 3:30 on. Yeah, I know.
Did you?
3:30, because my lad was going to Norway, so we had to pick him up from Torquay and his wife, and then bundle him in the car, drop him off at Bristol Airport, and then get to Cardiff. We were in Cardiff by 8:00. It's ridiculous. There's nothing open. Couldn't have a coffee. Couldn't do anything. But the game, like I say, it was a good game, but they were well organised.
Super well organised. The coach knows what he's doing. Should we be looking at making any changes, Steve? Do you think, or do you just believe in what we do?
I think be a bit more bold. I don't know whether. I don't think Tanner had a very good game, all in all, really. And I'm a fan of Tanner. I like the guy, but he seemed to struggle and I don't know, get nowhere on that flank there. He just didn't do anything with it. And I felt sorry for him when he that misplaced pass, but he was right in front of us, and he threw his bottle on the floor or whatever, and he wasn't a happy man. But I don't know, we just seem to go across field all the time. There doesn't seem to be anybody that's going to have a go and whereas a while back, even Ashford, he would come inside and have a crack, but he didn't do that either. Just passed it around.
So I'll bring Simon back in. Simon, was it? We'll move on from Lincoln. They've done the devil over us. There we are. We'll let that rest for a bit. But was there anyone at all in their team or squad, first of all, you even heard of, or anyone who actually impressed you? Was anyone who thought, yeah, you do a good job for City?
Sorry. Well, they talked about the right wing back, who was their captain, whose name just escapes me. But I saw somebody saying he had a really good game for them, and he would be a great asset for us as a right wing back. But you see, the thing, one thing that occurs to me is everyone said about what a big team they were. And when you were talking earlier about the days of Neil Warnock, Neil Warnock could do something with that team because they were like the land of the giants, whereas our team couldn't play the Warnock style because we just, we haven't got the physicality to do it. But Lincoln could, and to be fair, well, no, actually, they did it with a lot of things because their only attacking options were hitting us on the break and taking long throws. They didn't do a lot apart from that. We were talking about you were talking about other teams sort of spotting what teams do that beat us, and going back to Plymouth, and what are they going to learn, from that? But Lincoln approached it in a different way to Plymouth. I actually would applaud Plymouth for the way they played because they did come at us and attack, whereas Lincoln just sat back, put 10 men behind the ball, which is, as Steve just said, it's incredibly difficult to get through. Whereas Plymouth had a go at us, and they really, they deserved that 5-2 win because they dominated us. But we didn't. We conceded a lot of headers in defence in that game.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he started with Fish and Osho on Saturday, because I think they're two of our strongest defenders, certainly in the air. And I thought that was a good choice. And I thought Osho generally did very well. I know he was a bit unfortunate with their first goal, but overall, I thought he stood up to it really well. And it was just that I didn't think, as I've said before, I didn't think they were that great. But what they did really well, and they really well coached. What we said with Wiggy, the way their defence got back straight away. Yeah. And it's a bit like Steve and Donna said, it's because we were a bit too slow. And so, there were times, for example, I thought Wintle had a pretty good game for us, but there were times when he was running with the ball, and I thought we actually need him to pass because we need to get at this team quicker than we are, because they're so good at retreating and getting back in position and getting 10 men behind the ball. So I would think that's a learning for us. And one other thing I was going to say, when I heard Wiggy talking about Kellyman, I just wondered, I know in his pre-match press conference, BBM said Kellyman hadn't trained all week, and so he was a bit of a doubt. So I just wonder if maybe they didn't think he was up to starting the centre forward. I don't know, but I know he'd said that he hadn't trained up till Thursday. I can't remember whether he said groin or thigh or something. So, but it was like, when I saw Tanner, Kellyman and Ruben, I thought, oh, this could be a good idea. Oh, I wonder if this could work. And just because it didn't work on Saturday, it doesn't mean to say it's never going to work. But I agree with some people
who said, players.
Well, Tanner had his worst game since he's come back, because he has set high standards. But on Saturday, he had a bit of a stinker for him, unfortunately. So, that's the way it goes sometimes, I'm afraid.
So Steve Wiggy, lots of Steves around tonight. Steve Thomas has got a comment here, which is a good one. A win. This is really important. I think I read about Lincoln. I think somebody said they need 18 points from the last 10, 11 games, and that they should see them up. So we can't be far off that, can we? Steve Thomas says a win tomorrow will leave us needing to equal or better Bolton's result in 6 of the remaining 10 games. And that will do it. That's quite a good way of looking at it, Steve, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that is a good way of looking at it, Steve. As Donna said, Bolton has still got to come down here. I got back from the game Saturday, and I put Sky Sports on. The first thing I was looking for was the Bolton game, because my son had said they were
unbelievable, weren't they?
They were 2 down. So I'm watching Sky Sports News, and they got one with like 2 minutes to go. And I thought, no way can they get back. No way can they do that. But they've scored so many goals in injury time this year, Bolton. Absolutely astonishing. And the goal that won their game was another worldie. So you got to tip the hat to them. But we're going to have to keep an eye on Bolton. I think they're our only fear, really, if there is a fear. I just want to bring just one point up, and this is off the back of I was fortunate enough to be in Aberdeen a couple of Thursdays ago. Jeff Cleaton organised a really good night. BBM was there.
Oh, great,
Dylan Lawler, Isaac, and Eli King. It was a really good night. One of the things which I caught Brian saying was that Salek would be. He was asked the question on Salek, how long is he going to be out for? And he said, "Oh, it's probably going to be another 2 to 3 weeks at least." Well, I checked back when we got back from that night. It was a stinking night as well up in Aberdeen, but good night. Stinking night. Weather-wise, absolutely awful. Yeah. I'd never seen rain like it. It was like, I wish I'd gone up in the Ark. But the last game that Yusuf played for us was January 24th. Okay, so I mean, we all thought probably that he'd be back within a couple of weeks, but obviously the injury was, and obviously the city would have known that the injury was a lot probably worse than we all probably thought. So there's a week left of that transfer window. Your main striker is going to be out. I'm really surprised that we didn't bring anyone in as cover. But hey ho, we haven't done that, and I think it may cost us the title, Dal. I don't want to say it has cost us the title. It may cost us the title by not having a centre forward to replace Yusuf. But
so Steve, there was one point towards the end. There was Ruben. It was a header when he put it over the bar, and he kind of slightly mistimed the leap, I think. And I was thinking then, blimey, if only we'd had Yusuf Salah, that probably would have been in the back of the net. But Rob Flynn makes a good point there. We've got tiny players. I mean, every time we put the ball into the box, they were winning it. They were winning it in the air all the time. And when we had Salah playing, of course, we played differently. But he's talking a little about Trott a bit and his distribution. I mean, he's been a great signing. But would you think he's gone off the boil a little bit, Steve, in the last few games?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what's changed. He was quite cocky early on, and when he first came, and trying to beat the guy advancing as to stop him kicking out or whatever. I think every time my heart was in my mouth that he was doing it, but he got away with it every time. But yeah, he has gone a bit off the boil, I think. Would you good?
Yeah, I mean, would you? Because that was his big strength, really, wasn't it? I mean, that is his big strength, and what wasn't?
Yeah,
it still is his big strength. When he does it well. But it would be a really big call, wouldn't it, to change keeper at this stage? I mean, Tyro would be the opposite. He's not even on the bench at the moment.
I know, this is it. Yeah, I think I don't know about changing him. I don't think that probably might be a bit of a mistake. Even though you might come in and think, I'm going to show him what I can do, which is great, admirable. But I don't know whether we should change it right now. The one mistake could be costly, couldn't it? Really.
Simon, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I agree that his distribution is not as good as it was. There's been a few balls, long balls he's kicked out, and it's gone through all the way through the keeper, and you think, really, that's a bit of a waste. And I don't know, I may be being very, 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 very harsh, but when they broke for their second goal, I thought, well, he's on the side of the box, surely the keeper's got that covered. And when it went in, I know he struck it nicely at the far post. I did think that Trott was going to get a hand to it, probably based on some of the fantastic saves we've seen from him. So maybe I am being a bit unfair, but I thought, having seen some of the saves he's pulled off, I was surprised it went in the net. I thought he would have got a hand to it. But his distribution hasn't been as good. But I don't think you can drop him. I think he is still an excellent keeper, and he's maybe just having. He hasn't. But maybe it's like a few of the players. They didn't quite hit the high standards on Saturday that we know they can hit. But just on the point of Trott, I have thought, his distribution has gone off the boil a bit. And I don't know whether it's because of what happened. He got caught out, didn't he? Was it in the Plymouth game? I can't remember which one it was, where he tried to do a drag back and he got caught out and they scored. So I don't, so I don't know if that's affected him a bit. But I mean, I still think he's our number one keeper by a mile. So yeah.
Well, we haven't seen Tyra though, have we? No. He might be great. He might be outstanding.
See,
Where to see him? Go on, Donna.
there's me thinking with my little negative head again. I'm thinking, well, perhaps Trott isn't staying past May. Perhaps that's why, because he's only on loan. So perhaps he knows something we don't know. That's why Tyro's been brought in. So, and that's why he's making mistakes. I don't know. I'm just
Well, actually, if we're going to take your negative view, Donna, my
because he's not signed
understanding,
up, is he?
no, my understanding is there's an agreement for him to sign for us as long as we get promoted.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we don't get promoted, if they're listening to you, Donna, and we're going to be in the playoffs, you know, they might think, oh, we need another keeper. But yeah, you know, that is. I mean, I'm sure, as everyone has said, you know, we should get promotion still.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll sign, because it didn't seem like Copenhagen wanted him any longer. So it seemed like a deal that was going to suit both parties. So yeah, I can see him staying, but that would be the only reason why he wouldn't, I think, if we didn't get promotion.
So the other thing, Donna, as well, is what's your thoughts on, and this became more significant on the weekend because our backup goalkeeper became unwell on the day. What's your take on us not even having a spare keeper on the bench? It's a bit risky,
I find I think it's really risky. I do, because all it needs, like we can see that Trott is sometimes all over the place, isn't he? And he does like tackles and all sorts, which he could end up getting sent off. You know, little things like that. He could get sent off. He could get injured, and then we've got. Well, Perry NG, I'm assuming that's who they would use, but it was 3 or 4 years ago he went in goal that one time, and we still think of him as like a goalkeeper.
Such a great, it was a worldie of a performance there,
and he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing on Saturday either, was he?
I know. So I do find it really, really. I don't understand why we don't have a backup goalkeeper on the bench, especially with the position we're in now, with how important points are to keep going. And another reason, and I don't understand why we're not playing Scanlon either. He's on the bench now, but why we're not playing him? I know Joel Bagan is obviously unable to be kicked out the side because he's playing so well. But we've brought this guy on loan. He's not had one. Well, he came on for a couple of seconds, I think, at one game, didn't he? A couple of seconds at the end. But we're not using him. But he's taken a place on the bench, and then we haven't got a goalkeeper. So I'd be much more confident if we did have a goalkeeper on the.
If I could just say something on that, it's because we've now got Saturday's game was the first of 5 in 2 weeks, in 14 days, and so you would think having 5 games in 2 weeks, he's gonna rotate players. I think this might be the time that you see someone like Scanlon, you know, start and. You know, some of the other players, because it's very demanding to have 3 games in for a week for 2 weeks.
And also,
so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody like Scanlon start one of the games.
I think that's a good call, actually, but not exactly related to what you just said. Then what Simon just said. Then Steve Wiggy, but of course, just the way it's worked out is we haven't had that many home games in a run as well, which is just the way it's been. But a question for you: so playing the Colwells together, right, accommodating the Colwells being together, you know, because Joel's had the great season. And Ruben's, you know, looking fitter and fitter all the time. Are you an advocate of that they should both play, or would you maybe rather see one or other join in the fray later on from the bench?
I don't think it worked on Saturday, and I think that was BBM's plan. Well, that's why Kellyman was probably pushed wide, because he wanted to accommodate Ruben, but Ruben was dropping so deep on Saturday. He was virtually playing on Joel's toes. You know, it was it got quite congested in that midfield. I've seen a lot of comments about Ruben's game on Saturday. A lot of people said he was slow. I thought he did okay on Saturday, some really nice turns, but he was dropping so deep, and they were aware of that. So their 3 centre backs, it was easy for them. They just pushed one centre back and followed him wherever he went, and left the other 2 in defence. It was, you know, it was an easy. They were ready for us on Saturday, but
they were.
I think it's very awkward to try and. I'd sooner see a side with Ruben or Joel playing. I didn't think Joel had his best game on Saturday. He's had better games, but I think that was the reason that Ruben was dropping so deep that it was affecting our midfield's play a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, Steve, as you're saying there, really, wasn't it, Steve Wiggy? Because Ruben naturally plays that kind of number 10 kind of floating role. And Joel is best also does that. It's almost like the one brother was on the other brother's toes sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. It was a really funny formation. It ended up on Saturday, and we virtually didn't. I mean, it was a false 9, yes, but we didn't end up with it. What we could have done with on Saturday, Steve, was someone like I was thinking about it when the game was going on, because it was an ugly game. You know, remember that chap I called him the Beast. We had him from Middlesbrough. That's the guy we wanted on the bench on Saturday. So
you don't mean John Parkin, do you?
No, not him. No,
Not
the coloured fella from Middlesbrough. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Oh, now. I know. Yeah,
we had him on loan. But my mate who's
that's right. Yeah.
A Borough fan calls him the Beast. But that's the type of play we wanted on the bench, so we could throw him on and just lob some balls in the box. And get Robinson around him. That's what was needed on Saturday.
Feed the Beast and he will score.
Yeah, it was one of those games, and throw Parkin on as well. So I have him up front as well. It was just one of those games.
We a couple of nightclub bouncers and get them on there.
Wow,
throw them on as well.
Yeah. If I was just going to say about what you were saying about Colwell, I thought that Ruben Colwell in the second half. They obviously had identified him, and they had somebody following him all the time. I hadn't recognised it. Like as you said, it was the centre back, but they did play with 3 centre backs for the first time for a while.
Yeah,
because they normally start 4-4-2, but they went with 3 and wing backs on Saturday.
Yeah,
and so they were able to do that because we didn't have a Salek. They were able to put the one guy on Ruben all the time.
Yeah. It was an easy one to counter, playing up false 9. You know, just drop one of your centre halves and follow him everywhere wherever he goes, and you've still got the 2. And then of course, as we've said earlier in the show, they were so fit. You know, their fullbacks. They
just kept on going, didn't they?
Super fit team they were.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to watch them, as we said, but you've got to tip your hat to them because, as Jeff de la Cruz has said in the comments, Steve, you know that manager has got blood out of a stone. There's a few journeymen in that team, but they're super fit, well drilled.
Yeah. And they don't have to be rested every other game as well. He plays and then changes side as well, so that shows how fit they are.
Yeah,
he very rarely changes his team.
Yeah,
they go for a run every morning, Don.
Yeah, they do. Like me and you.
Yeah. So Jeff, talking to Jeff de la Cruz, Steve Jones. I was with Jeff on the weekend, and actually it was quite a nice moment for the game because he lives in Ireland, Jeff, and he managed to contact Brian Barry Murphy through his wife, you know, and he brought over a bottle of Barry's tea for him, and the club. So that's you, Jeff. You know, they brought the tea in, which was quite nice. But he's making a comment there about criticism, BBM, and he's he adds a wobble. You know, look where we are. Look how well he's done. I mean, you could argue, I suppose, maybe he didn't quite get the tactics right to begin the game, but overall, he's still done an awesome job, hasn't he, Steve?
Oh, amazing! Really. Yeah, you can have an off day, don't you? And I think it probably was a bit of an off day for everybody. You know, I can't see it. I looked at the game and watched everybody, and I thought there was no standout player there, or even coming off the bench. There was nothing. It was everybody did what they could do, but they couldn't do any more than they were allowed to do.
Yeah,
I don't know whether he got it wrong or not. I think he was okay, really. I think the formation we chose, but we just didn't have any impact up front. And without Salek in there or anybody as a target man, or take somebody out, basically, it was just running from one side to the other. That was as far as it went. And you could see I didn't think we were going to score.
No, it didn't look like we were ever going to score. It was one of those days.
The last 20 minutes, when I sat there watching it, I thought, we're not going to do this. Nothing's going to happen. And when they caught the second one, I thought, oh God, this all the effort in vain before that, and no shots. You know, it was just very quiet on the shot front.
But again, both their goals, Steve, they both basically came, even though it was fairly deep, they came from errors from us, and they just capitalised on them. They just
right.
gobbled them up, really.
So
Jonathan Water. What's that?
They were
Sorry?
a bit sharper. Yeah, I think they were a bit sharper than we were.
Yeah, they had an agenda, didn't they? But Jonathan Mordecai, with the comment there about the guy that Simon mentioned earlier, Deriqua, he's the right wing back. He's 34 apparently, and he's the player I think who was the one who was, the one who picked up the alleged alleged or interpreted racist comment. Steve, I don't know whether you Steve Jones, whether you had any take on that, because it seemed like it was. It seemed like it was a total misinterpretation, because they scored the goal, and there was 5 minutes or so before they kicked on again.
Bizarre.
And also there was a gesture the other way, which I think was also misinterpreted.
Yeah. It was bizarre, the whole thing. To be honest, from where we were, I couldn't understand what was going on. First of all, and it was a bit of a bit mayhem, like, wasn't it? But I don't know. Yes. Did he or didn't he? It's without the cameras. I suppose he couldn't define it completely, could he? He did it.
I think part of the problem is because they were time wasting all the way through the game.
Yeah.
And they've done it from minute one. The first instinct is, all right, they're time wasting again. Typical. What are they doing? And then so it was only afterwards when you found out. And I think it was somebody sitting near me that said, "Oh, he's pointing to his skin. He's pointing to his, his arm as though the color of his skin. So maybe it's this and the way the." But yeah, initially it was just like, "Oh, here they go, time wasting again." But they've been doing it all game.
Yeah.
I must admit, I mean, in all my time there, and this might just be me, I've never heard a racist comment for since the 70s, or a homophobic comment, because I understand we were reported for a homophobic comment at the Chelsea game, and I never hear any of that around where I am. So
I don't either.
No.
I was tempted to ask what that comment was, but I think we'll let that one lie. We don't just. But it's funny how these things, Simon, how they immediately get picked up on, by the press, because there's going to be some sort of aftermath, apparently, to the allegations, at least, of racism. And then there was a thing, like you said, with the comments against Chelsea, and innocuous as they may be. It's not a good look, and it's just the way it is with the media these days, isn't it?
Absolutely. As we were told, there's protocol to go through, and so we just have to wait. Apparently, it depends on the referee's report. And I don't want to take this lightly, but I remember a story that Craig Bellamy said that when he was playing for Celtic, and I don't know if it was against Rangers or something, and somebody in the crowd shouted, "You little Welsh," with an expletive, and he was arrested by the police. And he said he would have got away with it if he hadn't said Welsh, but because he said little Welsh, that's why he got arrested for racist behaviour or something like that. And it was just like, really, so we could call him the expletive, but it was the Welsh bit that. But obviously, I don't agree that any comments like that, in terms of racism or homophobic, language have got any place in the game. So, unfortunately, when it happens and there's rules and protocol to follow, then they have to be followed, and we just have to wait. Apparently, it depends on what the referee reports.
Yes, and how that plays out. Obviously, we could really do with Donna. We could really do with changing the topic from that. Yusuf Salak. We could how we could do with him coming back now. Apparently, he was in training today, so hopefully he's on the way.
Yeah, it's hopefully because I always think if he's fit to train, he can't. It was January last played, so it's only 2 months. He's a young, fit man. It shouldn't take him that long to get back to speed if he's fit enough to be training. So hopefully we won't be too long. Because we really needed him in that game and games going forward. So yeah, hopefully not long.
I mean, the only thing about that, from what I understood from BBM, he said he's back in training, but not contact training. So he's running on the pitch, but he's not involved in contact yet. So that's why maybe he's sort of saying he's still a little bit away.
Yeah, perhaps he can't header or anything.
or go for challenges. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
There was that. Did you see that one challenge on a Lincoln guy came and he almost did a forearm smash on our guy in the air, and the referee just gave a free kick. And I thought, surely that's got to be a yellow card.
Yeah. That
was very early on, wasn't it? It was very early on, I think, that one time, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It was the first half. I thought it might have been the second half, actually, Steve. It was near the halfway line.
The one I'm thinking of was really early on. It was like he yeah.
Yeah, it was, and of course,
it's funny though, isn't it?
We were talking about Lincoln's style of play. They committed, twice as number of fouls as we did, and they got all the yellow cards. We didn't get a single yellow card, but they only got 3, and only one of those was sort of fouled because the other one was sort of that ludicrous simulation in the penalty. It was just like, what's that guy
was
doing?
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
The ref didn't want to get his yellow card out, but he had to there because what do you do? If he'd just fallen down, he might have got away with it, but he fell down and then put his arms in the air and looked at the ref. And he said, well, you're going to get a yellow card for that, but yeah.
And then Steve, of course, with the referee, with that keeper, the amount of time he was taking, the old traditional clean the mud off your studs bit on the post every time you take a kick, just taking the mick. He was absolutely blatantly taking the mick.
Yeah,
he got away with it and got away with it till the very end when it was too late. He booked him.
Yeah,
frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Steve Wiggy.
One time the keeper had the ball, Steve. I counted 16. I thought, is it 8 or 5 seconds? I don't know what the rule is now, but I counted 16 in the second half. And I don't think the referee had a set of cards in his pocket till he really had to get him out. I didn't rate him on Saturday. The ref, he didn't stamp his authority on the game early enough, and that's what was needed. Along with an. It's like people have said, if we'd have scored first on Saturday, it would have been a totally different game. But against sides like Lincoln, you've got to get that first goal. And we didn't show enough enterprise in that first half an hour to get that first goal, unfortunately. So we paid the price.
Yeah, and you could see it happening, couldn't you? Doing that as the game went on, just knew that.
The Uche Ikpeatsu was the.
That's right.
I will say something though. The two kids they had up front. I mean, they took those goals really, really well. Especially the first goal where they interchanged the two. And there's the value of playing two up front. They were fit blokes and they got forward. I was impressed with their two up front. I thought they did well.
Two nice finishes. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good finishes.
Two good finishes.
Yeah. The question is whether
let's go around the panel on one.
Go on then. Uche.
What, Steve?
Uche.
Carry on. Sorry.
I just noticed Uche, that guy was the bouncer. That's the type of guy. That's the type of game it was on Saturday. They turned it into that type of game, unfortunately. And I think even a Manchester City would have struggled to break them down on Saturday. They were that type of team, and unless you got if we could throw Haaland on, maybe, but. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, Steve.
Well, I think they came for a 0-0. I think they came for 0-0, and it's just like, if we can catch them on the break, we'll do it. But 0-0 would have worked. That's what it looked like to me. That's how they set their stall out. 0-0, and we'll try and catch them on the break or a long throw,
and try and catch us on the break. And that's exactly what they did. So Simon, I'll start with you. Question for the panel. I'll go around everyone on this one. Simon Field, firstly, who's your starting 3 up front for City tomorrow?
Well, if they're fit, I think you've got to put. You don't have to, but I would put Kellyman in the middle. And he might not if he's, as I said, if he didn't train until Friday last week and another game in 3 days. But if he is fit, I would put Kellyman on the in the middle, and I'd put Tanner back on the right. Hope this game on Saturday was a blip, and I don't know. I think Wiggy sort of persuaded me that start with Chris Willock on the left, And then hopefully as well that NG is back. Apparently it was sickness on Saturday. He was feeling dizzy and sick. So yeah, to have NG back. But yeah, I would stick Kellyman in the middle, and I would have Tanner on the right and Willock on the left.
All right. How about you, Donna?
See, can I change the whole formation? Can we not maybe just have Kellyman and Robinson up front, just to try having the two up front like that, and try give Robinson a go? That's what I would do, and have then obviously Tanner on Tanner on the wing and Willock, but I would have potentially two up front. I don't think we're trying that enough.
But you could do that. You could have Kellyman as a 10 playing in behind him.
Yeah, that's what I would do, is have, try that. Let's give Robinson more of a chance. I mean, like I said, I think he's hardly started anything since Salek's been off. He started one and he was captain, because I can remember that. I was thinking, oh my God, Robinson's starting and he's captain in some game. But I would definitely give him a shout. He is, he's there, he's fit. That's what I would do. And I would definitely have Robinson and then Kellyman slightly behind, and then the boys on the wing. Let's try something different.
Mr. Jones?
Right, okay. I'd go with Kellyman up front. On the left, I think I'd go with Willock, but I think he should have started on Saturday, to be honest. But because it's okay coming in second half, but I think he's a good player to play from the start. And I would have him in for the full game. On the right, I'm edging Tanner, but I don't know. He didn't have a very good game on the weekend, but I suppose he'll be up for it maybe after the disappointment of giving the ball away, and give him a chance on that side. I think that's probably the best one that I can go with.
Okay. And yeah, someone just mentioned that, of course, Jeffrey's the goal was scored from a City Academy player. So luckily we got a top international class striker on the panel tonight, Steve Wiggins. So who's your front three?
Thank you, Steve. I would, I'd start with Kellyman in a 9 or a false 9. Definitely Willock to start. I think he's a lot better when he starts a game, and he offers that little bit of experience, a bit of know-how. He feints, and he's. The other thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see Joe Bagan given a rest tomorrow, play Scanlon, because I think, as much as I've liked what Joe's done, I think Scanlon will. He must be half decent playing for Liverpool. Or in their in their thoughts. So. I'd like to see him at left back tomorrow, and let's see if we can. We need to get behind teams, get to the byline. We need some Gary Bells into the box, Steve, going back in time there. We need some left foots to cross the ball in, So, but on right side, if Tanner's not 100%, and he's because don't forget he's come back from a bad injury. Why not start with Kean Ashford out there tomorrow just to freshen things up, Yeah.
Okay.
And fingers crossed, Perry NG as
well. Yeah, hopefully it'd be good to see him. But I love Joel Bagan, but I can see if you brought in a decent player as a backup, then give him a go. So this might be slightly more controversial. Not really, but I'll go with it being slightly more controversial. Simon, some of the games this season, I'm going to say, I think that Callum Chambers has been particularly good. Particularly good influence, particularly when we're up against more physical sides. Is there a case maybe to bring him back into the mix tomorrow against Barnsley, Simon?
I trust BBM, and he does his homework on the opposition. And so, whereas I think he got it right in defence on Saturday with Osho and Fish, I will. The thing with Callum Chambers, he didn't have a great game against Plymouth, and we shipped 5 goals, and so BBM will have seen that. So he's got to be careful who he chooses. And as you say, Steve, Chambers has had some great games, and he scored a couple of cracking goals. but I think he will take the opposition in mind. And the BBM always says that every position is up for grabs, and it's how the players do in training. So with that one, I'd trust BBM to make the call based on what he's expecting from Barnsley, and about the other defenders. Somebody said earlier about they would have started Lawler. I don't think he was fit enough to start, because he was the other player that hadn't trained all week. Him and Kellyman on Thursday, they hadn't trained all week, so I don't think Lawler was in a position to start. So I'm prepared to trust BBM, and if he thinks Chambers is the right person, that's fine by me.
Okay, Donna, and also talking about Osho, of course. I think Osho is a class act, but I'm not convinced, Donna, that he's maybe the best when you're up against the kind of the really kind of physical, lumpy kind of teams.
No,
Maybe
I
too much of a footballer for that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought he had quite a good game, to be honest, against Lincoln, because I was watching.
He's a good player,
My heart breaks for him because I don't know, he just looks so worried a lot of the time, and my heart breaks. So I keep an eye on him. But I thought he had a good game. So I know I'd probably play him again. I would play him on against Barnsley, but it's this Dylan Lawler thing. I just can't get my head around, because people keep telling me how he's this 19-20 million pound player, and I think he started 16 games for us this season. So and he is always injured, not badly injured, but it's niggles. And so if you're getting all these niggles with your knees and whatever he's getting at this age, how is he this 19-20 million pound player? Because I don't miss him. Like I said, when he's not playing, I don't say, oh my God, we're missing Dylan Lawler, like I do, oh no, we haven't got Salak, or when Kellerman didn't play. So to me, when he's not playing, he's not a massive loss. So I would stick with, I'd probably stick with the defence that he did, give them a bit of a run now, and maybe then, no, I wouldn't change the defence. I'd stick with the 4 that he had.
So you've been quite controversial tonight, Donna, with your,
I know.
theories at the beginning. And, Dylan Lawler, we can let him go. He's nothing. You let him go, says Donna.
I do. Cash in.
But it's nice, Steve Jones. It's nice that we've got that choice, because I mean, as an out and out defender, conversely, Fish is probably one of the best out and out defenders we've got. So we have got that choice there, haven't we?
Yeah, I was glad when he played on Saturday, because I thought he would do a good job, Fish, on the weekend. For this weekend, I probably would bring Callum in. I think the experience, Callum Chambers, yeah, I'd bring him in really for this game. I think the experience is there, and steady the ship after the weekend. Basically, I think at the back, because he is quite strong. He's not afraid of it.
Who would be alongside him for you?
Probably Osho. I think I'd give him another chance.
Yeah,
I thought he played quite well.
Okay, because I mean the thing with that is who's on the right, who's on the left. Getting the right balance with that as well, isn't it? The players got to be on the left. Sometimes get the more difficult challenge. Yeah. So we got Barnsley away tomorrow, and then we got we're going to play in a street of houses on the weekend. We go to Exeter, in somebody's back garden, sort of thing. So predictions for both quickly. I'll start with you, Steve Jones, and we'll whiz around. So Barnsley away, Exeter away.
I'd like to say 2-0 for the Barnsley, for us. Have you gone off there? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Both times?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can use it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So, fair enough. Yeah.
So I think 2-0 against Barnsley.
Yep.
I'm going to say a draw. As much as I don't, I don't want to say that, but I think it could be just a 1 each, just cancel each other out a little bit.
Of course, yeah. Chris Hughes Jones says it's easy for you to go and see the game tomorrow as well. Oh, sorry, on the weekend next. Steve Wiggy,
6 points, Steve.
Give us the results, Steve.
Yeah,
we need 6 points, don't we? Yeah.
6 points, 3-1 tomorrow, and I think Exeter I think Exeter 4-0.
Go
I'm being bold.
Well,
for it. I love that.
That's outrageous, Steve. Simon.
The way these fixtures fall, it's a bit weird when you look at it, because on last Saturday when we were losing to Lincoln, Barnsley were beating Exeter. Tomorrow night, Exeter are playing Lincoln, and then on Saturday we're playing Exeter.
Exactly.
So it's all Exeter at the moment. I think I'm not going to be quite as bold as Wiggy, but I think I am going to go for 6 points, and I'm going to go for 2-1, 2-1. I'm going to go for 2-2-1s.
That'll do. That'll do it. Donna?
I'm going for 6 points, and I'm going for clean sheets, because I think we need to start. Well, not having as many clean sheets we used to have. I'm going for 2-0 Barnsley. Because I was looking, they're in no man's land. They've got nothing really to play for. So I'm going to go for 2-0. And I think for Exeter, I'm going to go for 3-0 because they're going to play their hearts out against Lincoln on Tuesday, where they're going to have beaten them. So they're all going to be shattered. So we're going to beat them 3-0. So 2-0, 3-0.
Brilliant. I really so hope you're all right and City are back on track. Great show. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank
you, Steve.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.